Okay, so according to Merrill Reese, the voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, there is no such thing as a perfect game, but the example that you gave me of mistaking one player for another seems somewhat minor from where I sit, but you say that there's been more mistakes or bigger
there
mistakes.
are things that can happen. I'll try to recount this one as quickly as I can, but it was the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys a number of years ago, and the Cowboys were expected to beat the Eagles, and the Eagles were the Eagles had taken a lead, and there were just a few minutes left in the game, and Troy Aikman took the Cowboys all the way down, and he was at about the 2-yard line with less than a minute to play, and he went back to pass. And we are way, way, way up in the air in Dallas and at the Texas Stadium. I used to say our zip code is different than those on the field. And as I looked, I could see an Eagle reach up and intercept the ball. But I was screened by about 4 or 5 players, so I couldn't tell who it was. So I said, it's intercepted. It's intercepted in the corner of the end zone. The Eagles have the football. And you learn, and I talk about this in the book, Sportscasting, Turning Your Passion into a Profession, how to bide your time. So I'm saying he's out to the 5, the 10, the 15. Now my spotter at the time was Derek Boyko, who is now the Eagles Director of Public Relations, and my producer, Joe McPeak, who is very, very professional. Were both standing, and I figured Derek had enough time to go down with the binoculars and figure out who had the ball for the Eagles. As I looked over to see his call on the spotting board, Joe McPeak was so overcome by the fact that the Eagles had saved the game that he had tackled Derek. And I looked over and I saw the two of them on the floor. Now I look back and I clearly see number 23. It's Troy Vincent. Good. Oh. I have it. He's at midfield. He's at the 40. He's at the 30, 20, 10. Eagles win the game. And I am ecstatic. And everything is wonderful until we go to a break and they replay it. And little did I know that the ball was intercepted by number 50, James Willis. And as I looked over to see the spotting board, he lateraled the ball to Troy Vincent, who took it the rest of the way. Okay. So I completely blew the thing.
But that I can see that can happen.
Joe was apologizing, Derek, and I couldn't sleep that night.
Oh, see that? I feel bad for you feeling bad about that.
But I'm saying we all,
it's the heat of the moment.
Quarterbacks fumble,
right,
throw interceptions, and left tackles miss blocks, and nobody is perfect.
Okay, well, you're pretty close to it, I have to say. All right, we have some questions from our Facebook fans about your book, Sportscasting, Turning Your Passion into a Profession, and also about your experience with the Eagles. So let's get to them. Brian writes, how do you stay so enthusiastic during a game, even if the Eagles are losing?
It's my job not to create excitement. If people say to a broadcaster, you really made that game exciting, that's not the job. I hope I never make a game exciting, Lynn. I hope that I can transmit the excitement of an exciting game. But if the game is not a good one, then it is my obligation as a broadcaster to keep the broadcast interesting, but not to infuse false excitement.
But as the play-by-play voice of the Eagles, you can be a fan, but there are times you have to criticize as well,
I try
right?
to be honest, because I believe that NFL fans and Philadelphia Eagles fans are very, very knowledgeable, and I am as honest as I can possibly be.
That's an understatement, and they know their football. Okay, John, who also knows his football, says he wants to know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles moving forward. Of course, at the beginning of the season, there was the immediate controversy after the first game. But as we get into the season, do you think that controversy will continue?
The controversy is strictly in the minds of the fans and the media, and that will happen when Kevin Kolb went down after only 10 passes and Michael Vick came in, and Michael Vick's extremely exciting. But the Eagles decided when they traded Donovan McNabb that it was Kevin Kolb's time to be the starting quarterback. And that is how it's going to be. Andy Reid, who is the one who makes that call, is very clear about it.
And that's our next question that comes from Chris. Why does Andy Reid still have a job? I don't know that this is Merrill's position to answer, but your opinion?
I can answer by saying that if you look at teams that are constantly having problems, they're teams that have instability in the front office and on the coaching ranks. Andy Reid is the winningest coach in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. He has taken this team to 5 NFC Championship games. So he's done pretty well. And for people who say, but he never won a Super Bowl, let me just say that Bill Cowher didn't win a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh until he was in his 13th year.
When you're looking at the season 2010-2011, what teams are jumping out at you as being the ones to watch or perhaps the ones to beat?
It's early because no matter who you look at, you can always look at a Bill Belichick New England Patriots team. The Colts lost last week in Houston, but I still think they're a terrific football team. You can take any one of them, but if they lose the wrong 3 players to injury, wrong 3 guys go down, then that potentially 13-3 team could quickly become 9-7. So, I think the Saints, the defending champions, should be good once again. Minnesota should be good once again.
Mike Ditka called for the Ravens to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Well, you know what? John Harbaugh is a good friend of mine, and I'd like to see them do well.
Yeah.
And I think he has a good team, although the offense can struggle at times. And while Joe Flacco has a lot of ability, he is still a young quarterback.
Okay, one last question. We only have about 30 seconds left. I know you talk about Al Michaels and John Madden and some of the Philadelphia broadcasters. Who's in your Hall of Fame? For sportscasters.
There are too many to name. I mentioned Bill Campbell locally. I talked about the people that I know, like Harry Callis, the late Harry Callis. In baseball, there's never been any better than Vince Scully. Okay,
well, in Philadelphia Eagles history, there's never been anybody better than Merrill Reese. He writes about his book, Sportscasting, Turning Your Passion into a Profession. Go to merrillreese.com and get it for yourself. Thanks so much for being with us. Thank you as well.